So, you may have never noticed lichens, or you may think of them as strange creatures, and well, they are, and amazing. Some of them look like they come from outer space or something. I fell in love with lichens because I like to think outside the box. They can't be defined or controlled. They can't be grown in labs. A lichen is not a plant or a moss, and it's not a single individual. It's more like mushroom and algae working together, like in a community, in a commune, working together, and the mushroom will make the structure, and then the algae is within it. So this old cartoon's been around forever. It's pretty sexist, but basically that Freddie Fungi, he builds a house, but he doesn't have any food, and he finds an algae. He's a wonderful cook, and so they get married and become a lichen, and so he keeps the house going, and she keeps the powerhouse of food. And you can see, this is a cross section where you can see the structure of the Freddie fungi and then algae, and sometimes, occasionally, we've discovered that in this household they have a threesome going on. Sometimes they have Kurt cyanobacterium or Yvonne yeast. And with all this, we should probably talk about sex. And lichens do have sexual reproduction, but you can see in these little particles here, the mushroom and the algae have little particles that break off and can blow around in the wind and the water and travel the world that way. It's very, very successful. From the book Braiding Sweetgrass, I had a couple quotes. I have one right now that says, "It takes a team sworn to reciprocity to keep life going forward. In a world of scarcity, interconnection and mutual aid become critical for survival. So say the lichens." So lichens are tough and efficient, so they were one of the first things on Earth back when the planet was young. So over 400 million years ago, lichens are already widely spread. So it's way before the dinosaurs. So lichens are kind of pioneers that are helping build ecosystems for the future. Lichens are also tougher than humans, and they've done experiments where they've taken lichens and exposed them for over 2 weeks into outer space, and then they bring them back to Earth, and they just go back to doing their thing. They're just fine, which is like really amazing. They grow everywhere in the world, from the Arctic to the tropics, on rocks, trees, ground, water, desert, and yes, they were on these palm trees and on the leaves there. And no, they're not parasitic on trees either. And did you know that there are twice as many species of lichens in the world as there are species of birds, which is pretty cool. Lichens are really important to a lot of animals, such as the caribou here. They make up 80% of their winter diet for survival. It's called reindeer moss, what they eat, but it's really lichen. So the lichens are really important to survival for a lot of animals. And they're also really important for human health too, and they've been used for different antibiotic properties through time. And one of the projects we did for National Institute of Health, we traveled around the country collecting lichens to use for slowing down cancer tumors in humans. And this is a lung lichen here. You can see where I put water on part of it to make it come to life. I worry about the sustainability, but lichens have also been used for dyes and toothpaste, deodorant. They make beautiful colors of dyes, you wouldn't think, and decorations. They've also been used for centuries for cooking in Scandinavia and Asia. So, don't try this at home. But whenever I teach lichens, I try to cook up rock tripe lichen, and every single group is asked for seconds, believe it or not. I think about when you hear the term manna from heaven, there probably was a similar species of lichen lived on a cliff that provided food for people when they were starving. And lichens also have amazing chemistry and over 700 chemical compounds, 90% of which were not known anywhere else. And so it makes some of them glow in the dark, and you can see here's my lichen in the daylight, and here it is in the dark glowing under UV light. And each lichen species has a different sensitivity to pollution, so they're like the canary in the coal mine. They're just fabulous to use for all kinds of pollution studies around the world. So basically, when you're mapping out healthy lichens, that's a really good predictor for human health also. And a lot of the orange lichens seem to love calcium, so I'm kind of tickled that people started using drones recently to look for dinosaur fossils in remote areas by looking for the bright orange of the lichens. So lichens kind of have cool common names sometimes. They make good Halloween costumes. And the one on the left is rock gnome lichen, which is a favorite to many of us. And it's really cool. Lichen is just in this part of the world, nowhere else in the whole planet, and we're hoping we don't lose it from pollution or anything. Now, lichens have been studied for centuries, but they're also still a frontier, and the famous Dr. Laura Bogus at Mars Hill discovered an entirely new genus of lichen recently, and I was honored because she named it Karin. She named it after me. And I asked her, thank you, I asked her why, and she said she appreciates badass women protecting the forests. So I'm like, okay. so I take that. So I'm happy about that. One of my quotes, the other quote from the Braiding Sweetgrass book says, I suspect lichens will endure. We could too if we listen to their teachings. So some of the takeaways we might get from lichens could be community, working together, diversity, thinking outside the box, different methods of sex, keeping an eye on pollution, being flexible, patient, adaptable, having good chemistry, being mysterious. What do you think?